Hi, I'm Fahad Mian. This is Prime Philosophy, and thank fuck that International Women's Day is over because now we can start talking about actually trying to acquire some sense of equality as opposed to quietly segregating 50% of the population based on some uncontrollable genetic trait they had when they were born. Because equality for everyone, whether you like it or not, it's an infinitely more important and efficient way to right the wrongs of this world compared to fighting for equality for women. You can accomplish so much just by wanting equality as opposed to pointing out the differences between people. And don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of people yesterday who were doing the good thing about trying to make it more about equality and trying to bring people of different types together and having a sense of unification there. And there were people who were welcoming this togetherness, and there were people who were trying their best to dissolve any preconceived notions that there are about gender differences, and I applaud those people. It's wonderful to see that. On the flip side of things, we have people like this Alida Brandenburg, who just so happens to be a vice president of some social media company in New York, who makes a post commenting on this $2.5 trillion statue of a girl standing in front of a Wall Street bull. And she comments and says, "This is massively dope, and I support the overall message and objectives behind it, but am I the only one a bit uncomfortable with the fact that it's a little girl instead of a grown woman? It feels like it still, once again, positions women as girls, as smaller, weaker, underdeveloped, immature outsiders who don't professionally belong there, standing next to the contrast of strong, strapping, grown men. In a word, cute. Amazing the subtle, unconscious ways we still fortify this perception of women as the inferior sex, even when trying to do good. No, you fucking idiot, you're the one who has some uncontrolled preconceived bias about what women are and shouldn't be, and how little girls are supposed to be innocent and aren't capable of doing anything because they're underdeveloped or something. I fucking guarantee you that little girls are just as capable of being evil, deceptive liars as anyone else in and around their age. Just everything that you said completely smashed all the bloody gender differences that are trying to be reconciled by parents who are trying to tell their kids that, you shouldn't be treating women or little girls this way because, they're capable of being whatever they want. And here we go, just smashing it all down in this post of fucking lunacy. And then we have someone else by the name of Marion commenting saying, "A powerful, fully sexualized woman is one of the scariest things to patriarchy." No, you fucking moron. Again, fucking idiocy. Why this shit is being allowed to be normalized, and people like this are allowed to be social media managers and allowed to speak bullshit with so many people going along with it and applauding it. It's just mental. The best defense against this notion of patriarchy is a strong, rational, logical argument that you can debate, and you can, like a woman that can do that can just knock down this idea of patriarchy. But here we are saying, nah, a sexualized woman is the best thing against patriarchy, when in actual fact a sexualized woman is exactly what the idea of patriarchy uses against women. It's nonsense, plain and clear nonsense. And stuff like this just bothers me, because we want equality, we know how to get equality, and here are people who say that they're in it for equality, but they're just making things worse. They're just undoing all the hard work that feminists have worked towards for the last several decades. It's what is it? It's some people, I don't think they understand where they sit in the place of things, and to pull out some sort of fucking illogical argument when there is no argument there, just for the sake of perpetuating some sort of damage to make sure that women's rights can be still held onto as something secure and dear that we need to fight for. No, like, don't make shit up. Don't make things worse. You know, this is exactly this kind of attitude is exactly the reason why so many people are refusing to identify with feminism. There's like 3 separate polls in 2 different countries over 3 separate years that have said that between 60 and 80% of women refuse to call themselves feminists, but they strongly agree with the idea of equality. Now, why is that? Why is this? Why does there exist this difference between, oh, these people are trying to fight for women's rights and they're calling themselves feminists, and then you've got this other group of people who identify as something completely different and say, yeah, it's about equality, when feminists will try and tell you that they want equality, and then feminism is about equality. Well, look, in order to achieve equality, you need to remove labels as much as you can. When it's unnecessary to speak about labels, you need to just stop talking about it. Talk about, like, refer to people as people or individuals. Call people by their names instead of coming up with a reason for saying, oh, this is a man, this is a woman, this is a little girl, this is a little boy, when it's irrelevant in most situations. Unless you're my doctor, it's irrelevant that I'm a man. It's completely irrelevant. And I'm getting worked up because it's a topic that I hold dear, and I don't like things going backwards. I don't like regression. I understand you need to look at the past in order to move forward, but taking a step back and not even realizing it and blaming it on some fucking mysterious force like patriarchy, it's not fucking gravity. It doesn't apply everywhere. If you don't see patriarchy being applied to some sort of specific situation, you don't need to insert it in there. That's fucking bullshit, man. It's just nonsense. And look, we gotta remove labels, because feminism doesn't remove labels. Its very definition, at its core, it reinforces the idea of there being some sort of difference between genders. Totally. Feminism wouldn't exist if there was equality. And what we need to do is we need to start handing over the role that feminism has and hand it over to people who want equality, because those people aren't going to keep mentioning the differences between genders. They're not going to keep on trying to create fuel from this notion that little girls are innocent and incapable and underdeveloped and smaller and weaker. It's bullshit, man. And I hope more people can put something together for the cause of equality, as opposed to compounding the issues that cause feminism to exist in the first place. It's now's the time. It's not necessary to keep on talking about this shit when in the same breath we can just cover every base and talk about every individual having their own equal rights, instead of drawing this distinction between genders for no reason, and having our kids grow up reading this kind of stuff and say, well, all right, so girls are meant to be smaller and weaker and just underdeveloped, and flying off that notion. This is bullshit. If you see a post like this, if you see any sort of hypocrisy, just call it out. It shouldn't be deleted. It should be there, used as an example of how not to get equality, how not to fight for equality. It's clear and simple. It's bullshit. And again, I want to thank the people that actually tried to make yesterday about togetherness, because that was really healthy. It was really good, and that's what I want to see. I don't want to see crap like making up things out of thin air, And yeah, I think we're going to have a better future. I think we are. If we can call out stuff like this more often, we're going to have a better future. And I wish everyone well, and I wish everyone moves towards the same cause rather than different causes. It should all be about equality. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned to my next video, where I'll try to explain how 1 + 1 almost never equals 2. That might be tough. See ya.